Welcome to the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel for the next episode in the My Team series. Today I'm joined by a man who has finished in the top 1000 in FPL 4 times, and he also writes phenomenal FPL content for The Athletic. Pretty insane stuff. Abdul, a pleasure to have you back on the channel, my friend. You were on a couple of weeks ago to reveal your first draft, but now, at the time of recording, we are just 48 hours away from the game being released. This is serious. I'm very interested to see who is in your current draft this close to the deadline.
Yeah, it's getting serious now. I'm not a fan of Friday deadlines. Would have liked another day because I'm not totally set on this draft. But here we are. I'm excited nonetheless. Can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like this season is just going to be so much fun. There's so much scope to go wherever you really want to, I think. I know there's a small sort of template starting to form, and there's always going to be.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing for me with your team is last time you were on, you had a number of players that I'm not sure are going to be in there this time. The likes of Watkins, you had Foden before,
Yeah.
Trent was in there, might still be there. The main one is Salah, and I'm very interested as we get to your midfield to see if Salah is still in the team. Obviously, you love that man a lot. He's in your name, for goodness sake. So that's going to be an interesting one. But yeah, let's get started. As always, we're building this on Fantasy Football Hub's phenomenal My Team tool, which is going to give Abdul's team a team rating percentage at the end so we can judge how good it is compared to the other guests we've had on the channel, and also your team as well, guys. If you want to get your team rated now with just a few hours to go until the deadline, then you can do so for free. Click the link in the description. Okay, mate, let's get things started with the goalkeepers. Has there been a change in goal?
Yeah, so I've got Henderson and Fabianski in goal. So I decided to go for, I think my initial draft I had two 4.5 keepers, but I've decided to go for just a single 4.5 and gone for Fabianski as the fourth. I think maybe out of the 4 million keepers, he's probably maybe the one most likely to, I guess, become first choice, if Ariel gets injured or, if he falls out of form. So yeah, it's obviously not gone too much thought into that, but that'll be my goalkeeper pairings will be a 4.5 and a 4.
Okay, let's move straight on to the defense.
Yeah, so I've still got Trent.
He's still there. Okay.
Yeah, he's been in all my drafts so far. I just think at his price and with Liverpool's fixtures and from pre-season as well, we've seen that he is going to be playing in his usual kind of right back role, not that kind of midfield hybrid role that he's kind of got adopted last season. So he's still in there, and I think he's pretty much nailed.
Okay, so Trent is in. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Let's move on to the next defender.
Yeah, so I've gone for Porro. So I didn't have Porro, and I didn't really consider Porro much, during my first draft. But I just think, looking at the first two are great, and I think 5.5, he's a good kind of set and forget option. I know he's got Newcastle and Arsenal in game week 3 and 4, but from game week 5 onwards, he's Spurs' fixtures pick up a lot, and I have decided to just go for the two premiums. Munoz was quite close in that position, and he still might be, but I've gone for Porro for now. I think at 5.5 is good value, and like the thing is with the new kind of BPS rules, it kind of really makes a lot of the 4.5 million defenders unattractive, because I think now we're kind of more relying on the attacking in terms of defenders, and Porro is one of the most attacking defenders in the game alongside Trent. So yeah, he's there for now.
Oh, do you think so? That's interesting, because my interpretation of it is that the clean sheet now is even more important, because you just cannot get bonus points without a clean sheet, or it's very hard to. I know the guys are above average FPL, who are another great YouTube channel out there, did a great little piece determining with the new FPL changes this year how many bonus points players would have got last year, and Porro was the main man in terms of a player that lost the most. I think with the new changes he would have been 11 bonus points down this season compared to last season. Does that concern you at all? That Tottenham, we've not really, they're not known as a very strong, solid defense, and Porro got a lot of his bonus points from attacking returns last year.
Yeah, it is concerning, and I think that's one of the reasons he's not nailed in the team. I would love to have that point five to bring in Gabriel
Yeah,
instead. However, I just think in that price range, and I'm also thinking about, is it just worth going for Munoz, who's 5 million, and he's probably just as attacking
yeah,
as Porro. But you could possibly say with a better defense as well, because Palace were the fourth best, or I think it was the fifth best for XGC last season. And so they have got a really underrated defense. However, just to go back to your point about the defenders, like I do think that it does always. I mean, it kind of decreases defenders' values across the board.
yeah.
But with the 4.5 defenders, I don't think there's one there that I can like play every week, like regardless of fixture. I think you get to that territory when you get to the 5.5 and above defenders, like like your Guardiols, your Trents, and I think Porro probably comes under that as well. So I wanted like, and I don't like playing like a three-man rotation, so I wanted Trent and another defender there who I'm going to play every week, pretty
Okay.
much regardless of fixture, in most weeks, and then have my third defender as a rotator. So yeah, as I said, he's not kind of nailed in my team just yet because he does allow kind of upgrades elsewhere. If I want to do it in midfield. And yeah, as I said, if I could get a point five for Gabriel, then I would do that. So let's see.
Okay, let's move on to the third defender then. Who have you got?
Yeah, so I've got Konsa and I've got Konsa and Robinson, right? That's my two next defenders. And the
Oh,
reason,
okay, I like it. I like Robertson. I think that's the first time we've seen him on
yeah,
this series.
I like so they've got a really good rotation, right?
Yeah,
So in the first week, I'm not planning to play any of them, right? So I'll explain that in my next defender pick. But from going to game week two onwards, they've got a really good rotation. And they also rotate quite well with my fifth defender as well. And he was like ultra attack. He's like really attacking down the wing. He's got high assist potential, and I think Fulham are quite underrated. And I think Robinson is underrated. But you just said yourself, he's not really a popular option, but
yeah,
I really like him, and I like Fulham's fixtures. That overall for the first like 10 game weeks are great. And I just think maybe with me. I think I've maybe resigned myself to use the wild card by game week six. But if I don't use it in game week six, it'll probably be game week 12. So he covers, that period beyond game week six if I decide to keep my wild card. So I like that. I like the rotation between Consa and Robinson.
yeah. I like Robinson a lot actually. He's getting closer to my team for sure. Just looking at a few preseason games, it looks like yeah he is going to be the flying fullback and the right back is going to be more of a sitter.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think you're right. I think Fulham are active. Their team. I know they've lost
Yeah.
Polinia, which is obviously a big loss, but I don't know. I think they're going in the right direction towards yeah, sort of how I remember them from sort of 10, 15 years ago, where they were sort of Chelsea's bogey team, and they were always like
Yeah.
doing well, top half of the table or around there. And I think they might be getting close to
Yeah.
that sort of level again.
Yeah.
To be
They're
fair.
not really a relegation team anymore, I don't think.
No,
You're not
exactly.
a team that you'd expect them to get relegated or finish, kind of. And they've got a quite decent team now with like
Yeah.
Muniz and Ben Line on goal, and so I think they'll be fine.
This last defender then is interesting for me. I can't actually quite work out who you're going for, just based on what you've said. So yeah, who have you got?
Yeah, so the last one will be Barco.
Oh, it is Barker,
So,
but you but you
uh,
but you're okay with playing him game week one.
yeah, I think I'm
Wow.
because I think like game week one, I think we know he'll probably start, right?
Yeah.
I think Estupiniana is back in game week after the international break in game week four when Brighton's fixtures get really good. So look, who knows? I mean, that's his expected return date, and it could be much longer than that. So, no, he could be a great value option for much longer. He could play himself into the side. Who knows? So, I really like Barco at his price, and I think I would risk it against Everton. Everton, okay, Everton away, but Everton scored, I think, was the second or third least goals last season. They just don't score. I mean,
Yeah.
they've got a really solid defense. And Sean Dyche, we know what he plays like. He's done it at Burnley and all the clubs he's been at. He's kind of a defensive first type of manager. So I could see a clean sheet there. I wouldn't be surprised at all. And Barco's been playing, amazing preseason. He's been taking set pieces as well. So I quite like that. And I don't think many people will play Barco in game week one.
No.
So I like those three defenders there because it allows me to play Barco in game week one. which I think is quite an exciting pick. And then the rotation between Konsa and Robertson is good, even like, and so that kind of covers me even if Barco loses his spot. I don't have to
Yeah.
make that kind of immediate transfer there.
Yeah, no, I like that. That is one of the drawbacks with Barker. I mean, it's not really a negative thing because you can't say that not being able to play a 4 million defender is a bad thing. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's just when is he actually going to be in your team? That's what I'm thinking with my side anyway. And if I'm not playing in game week 1, probably not going to play in game week 2, definitely not game week 3.
yeah,
Then
exactly.
as you say, 4 and 5 there are his expected minutes are obviously a bit lower. We have to see what happens with Estupinian, and I don't
Yeah,
expect him to just come straight back into the team.
yeah, uh,
But
yeah. And like as I said, he's going to have the international break to recover, but he's not going to have the match fitness. So we could possibly, I think, in a realistic case scenario, get him for Ipswich at home in game week 4.
yeah, okay, that's the defense. Let's move on to the midfield. Do you want to spill the beans immediately about whether Salah is in your team or not?
Yeah, I'll tell you now. He's not. No,
He's not.
no, he's not. I've gone for.
Oh wow, that is gutting.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like because in my first draft I had Watkins and Foden, so like, Watkins being a doubt and Foden's being a doubt, kind of I had the City cover there, and Foden, whereas now I don't really see a midfielder I could go for apart from Bob, who isn't really he's more like a fifth midfielder, right?
Yeah,
So it just kind of shifted me towards a Haaland team, and I think I've been looking at that, the Haaland and Salah drafts, and I think they're quite close. And I just think that second fixture for Haaland at Ipswich at home, I'm going to really, really regret not owning him if if I don't have him. And I think Isaac is probably just as good an option as Salah for game week 1. So I could captain him this week. So obviously, spoiler there of I've got Isaac in my forward line, but everyone
yeah.
does anyway, so
No, of course.
that's fine.
Yeah, well, we've kind of jumped to the forwards there, but that is the debate with Salah. Is yeah, if you don't go for him, obviously you kind of have to go for Haaland. And
Yeah.
I guess we're seeing fewer teams now. Why is it? Do you reckon that we're not seeing many Haaland Salah teams? Is it just not enough cash for the rest of the side?
Yeah, I mean, I've put together a few drafts that I quite like, but it's just like you're missing out on like two kind of premium players. Like if you go for a Salah and a Haaland draft, like you're not able to get like for example a Saka or a Bruno, whereas you could if you could just go for one of them, and then you've got to rely on the likes of like the 5.5 midfielders, like probably two of them, like a Mel Smith Rowe, and they're all good value options, but you don't want too many of them. You probably ideally want one in case it doesn't work out. But yeah, it just hampers the squad too much, I think.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe if I was set like super set on a game week 4 wild card, I would go for it. But yeah, I don't want to kind of commit myself too early.
Yeah, makes sense. Does make sense. A sad day for Mo, but there you
Yeah, no,
go.
he'll be in at some point.
That's
He'll be in
that's
at some
true. That's
point.
definitely
He'll be in
true.
at some
Yeah, I
point.
mean, come 4 and 5, it's going to be quite hard to ignore him. Anyway,
Yeah.
really, wild
Yeah,
card or
because
not.
I've been tentatively thinking about wild card in game week 4 and then switching
Yeah,
Salah up then, for that kind of fixture swing there. So that's a possibility still.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's see who is in the midfield then. If Salah is not.
Yeah, so I've got Saka and Bruno as my two kind of big hitting midfielders. I just think like both nailed for 90 minutes. Well, Saka most of the time, both on penalties, and just really kind of reliable options. And obviously having no Salah allows me to get them too. So yeah, they've been kind of in all my kind of Haaland drafts so far, and I just think there's not much we need to say about them. They've got, I think, Arsenal have got, I think they've got a mixed bag of fixtures like in the first 10, but just think they're so good going forward. They're so good defending. They're going to be title contenders again. And Saka is like an elite FPL asset now. We've seen that. Last 2 years he's kind of established himself as one of the top tier options.
We'll look at captaincy when we finish the team because I do want to go through it a bit with you because obviously you are an excellent planner and I know we've already seen with the defense you've got a set plan in place,
Yeah.
wild card or not for yeah a number of game weeks. Just want to see if Saka is on your mind for captaincy game week 3 and maybe that's a factor as well of as to why he's in your team. Bruno's one. What am I missing with Bruno because I just don't get it. what like
Um,
a lot of people have him now. As in the last three teams now that have been on this on this channel have gone with Bruno. And
I mean,
I still don't, sorry, I still don't
yeah,
understand why he is suddenly now a good option again when last year we kept him in our team for so long and we kept saying, you know, he's so good. He's playing well. He's creating loads of chances. It doesn't matter if the rest of the players in your team can't finish them, right? I don't know.
yeah. Look, he's one player that, like as I said to your fair, I'm really wanting Anthony Gordon, and
Yeah.
it's just a shame that he's a wee bit of a doubt to start game week one because he's not had many preseason minutes. So I would have probably gone for Gordon in that position, to be honest, if he was like
Okay.
fully fit, because I really like Gordon and I like Newcastle's fixtures for the first 10. But he's just such a reliable option. Look, he got 10 goals and 9 assists last season in like a terrible Man United team.
Yeah.
Right? Even if they increase their output by, like, 1 or 2%, he's the main playmaker. He's like their kind of talisman. And he's gonna be the one kind of making things happen, getting goals and assists. So he's probably one of the most nailed players in the league. Like he's gonna when he starts, he's gonna play 90 minutes. So he's just like a really reliable pick. If you're kind of I guess stuck in that price range, he's the kind of the go-to guy. And if you look at United's fixtures, like they are good fixtures. Like the first two are good for attack.
Yeah.
Liverpool in game week 3, but that's at home.
Yeah.
And then Southampton, Palace, Spurs, I think all good fixtures for
Yeah.
attack. So and I know it's not much to go on, but they did kind of impress me in the Charity Shield against City. I think there was a few passes of play where they kind of ripped City open. I know that wasn't their full team, but they did impress. I'm not going off like that one game sample, but I just think in his own like in isolation, I think Bruno's just really is just such a reliable. He is a boring option, but he's reliable.
I don't mind that at all going off the Community Shield. I do feel like a lot of the time, and this is partly based on my own experience of last season, we do value preseason a little bit too highly. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
I went to watch a Brentford game, and it was I think it was their last preseason game. Just went with a couple of mates, and Mbermo was playing. I was like, okay, I'll watch him because I was between Mitoma and Mbermo. If you remember back to last season, and Burma was awful. I mean, he was so bad. It just looked like he wasn't trying at all. He looked like he was off the pace. And it looked like, in retrospect, he was trying not to get injured, which a lot of players do. But then
yeah.
he came flying out the blocks, obviously, and we know what happened next. If you didn't play FPL last season, he was just the pick, the value
It
pick
was.
at the start for the first four game weeks. He was well actually for the first half of the season he was just
Yeah, until
phenomenal,
he got
wasn't he?
injured. Yeah,
Until he got injured, exactly. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm slightly less inclined to really look at preseason in a lot of depth, but I do rate the Community Shield as yeah a relatively competitive game. And players don't really they commit in that game. I would say more than other preseason friendlies. And yeah, United look good. So I don't know. Like the more I listen to experts like you, the more I'm inclined to think maybe I am missing a trick with Bruno. He
yeah.
has
No,
been such a good option in the past, and he was a good
yeah.
option as well at the end of last season, which I'm slightly forgetting.
Yeah, no, he was. I mean, look, he's consistent, and I just think like again, even playing in a terrible team, he gets taken at turns.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I really think United will do much better this season. That's just my own personal opinion. I'm not like
Okay.
kind of betting anything on that, but I do, and I think obviously Bruno will benefit from that as well. But he's by no means nailed in this draft.
19 goal involvements in a bad team. It's
Yeah.
very good. It is really good. Okay, let's carry on then. Next midfielder.
So the next two are Nkunku and Eze.
Sure.
So again, like Nkunku's one where he's been in all my drafts so far, but um, I have been like as I said earlier, trying to get Porro up to an Arsenal defender, and I just think he is probably the guy in midfield who would probably make way, him or Bruno to allow that. But at the moment, I think he's fine. I think he's probably going to. He has the potential to be a game breaker, right? So I know you're a Chelsea fan, so you'll know more about. He's been playing great pre-season, getting a lot of minutes. I know you got benched in the last pre-season, but I think that was just due to the accumulation of having the minutes he actually played in pre-season.
Yeah.
So probably just needed a bit of a rest. But he looks great value at 6.5. My only drawback with him is we don't know how Chelsea are going to be. Like new manager, loads of new signings again. I think they're probably going to sign Osman as well, from what I've seen this morning. So
That'd
I
be
do think,
amazing if that happens, by the way. That'd be
yeah,
so fun.
yeah, it would be, but then that would obviously, I think, again, put more of a not on Nkunku's starting chances, but his expected minutes,
Yeah.
because he can't play as a nine, he can't play as a 10. I think that's where he's going to play as the 10 from what Maresca was saying. But there are so many options that midfield that he's still. We know he's going to get limited minutes. He'll start, but he'll probably come off maybe 70, 75.
Yeah.
But I still think it's good value at 6.5. Eze for me is just nailed. He's like one of the players who's been totally nailed in my every draft. It looks great value at 7 million. He's on penalties. Obviously, there has been a bit of murmurs around him going to Chelsea, going to Man City.
Yeah.
Obviously, if that happens, he's off the list. But it does seem like he's gonna at least start the season at Palace anyway.
No, it makes sense. Yeah, the Nkunku one is one that I've been like not struggling with, but like you, he was completely nailed in my team, and then I was thinking, can you slightly maybe avoid him just the first three, and then just see how he does, and then get him in for well, to be fair, probably game week 3. Just City at home, Wolves away, not the best opening 2 fixtures, but
Yeah,
he is. You're right. He's the player. He is a player that like if he starts well, he could break the game. He is
yeah,
at that price, and he will then explode in price. He's not really a
yeah,
player that you want to miss really at 6'5".
yeah. I think you can honestly, and the more I've been thinking about, it, the more I think he is quite disposable because those first two games aren't the best, right? And you can always get him in later.
Yeah,
He's,
okay.
he's not he's not like unachievable. He's not like a Salah price range or a 10 million. He's 6.5. So as long as you've got like a placeholder in there, I think he's quite easily gettable. Um, so yeah, it's uncertain with him, but he is just great value, and I think we've forgotten how good he is. If you look at
Yeah,
his numbers, Leipzig, he's one of those players, but he could easily hit like 20 goals, 15 to 20 goals a season
yeah.
in the league, and he's got assist potential as well.
It's interesting how we're going to set up. I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do, to be honest, because it's changed a little bit in pre-season.
Mm.
The last game against Inter Milan was a lot better. It looked a lot more solid, a lot more like a first 11, and it was a
Yeah,
bit more of like a diamond in midfield. It was quite interesting, and I think that might be good for him. Just
that might
playing
be.
more of a second striker, really.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I don't. He's probably going to start up top, but just
yeah,
thinking slightly longer term, not really sure how that's going to work. But
yeah, because it was Gay up front in that game, wasn't it?
yes, exactly.
Yeah, so I
Which
mean,
which
if Jackson isn't fit for the season, then he's not really going to start Gay,
no,
surely.
he won't start. He won't start. But yeah, he was sort of the workhorse, the dog in that team, and Nkunku was Nkunku. I'm sure will play central, which is good for him.
Yeah,
Which is I think that's the main thing. And his best position, where we saw at Leipzig, was second striker,
yeah,
working off someone else. Whoever that's going to be, not entirely sure. But yeah, the team we look. That was the first game where I was like, okay, that I can see like the pastures of play here are coming
yeah, we
together,
can
and
see that.
looked good from going forward, and looked more solid as
Yeah,
well at the back. They
yeah,
scored a great goal. That was it really. But
yeah.
but
To
yeah,
be honest, I think that's where I would prefer him because you got to think about it like an FPL perspective. Like, um, he needs to play in the position where he's going to get the most returns, right? And that's his best position. So, I mean, people think playing at number 9 is great, but if you're not good as a number 9, then or not as good as when you're
yeah,
in the 10, then it's better for you to play in the 10 role.
yeah. That's such a good point. It was like Gordon was good at it last year. He did do pretty well in the number 9,
Yeah,
but he's better for FPL when he's on the wing. But people would say, oh, Gordon's out of position.
yeah, because
He's
it's a
up front.
Suns.
He's
Yeah,
better. Doesn't make you a
yeah,
better option if you're not as good at playing in that position, and yeah, you're not as clear as
yeah.
what you're
No,
doing.
I agree.
Yeah, that's a good point. That does always make me laugh. Okay, let's round things off with the midfield. Are you going for a 4.5, or are you spending a little bit more?
No, I'm going for now. I'm going for Rogers. I have been
Oh,
thinking
okay.
about Bob, and the reason I like Rogers is because I think he's a bit more secure long term than Bob, and I've been really impressed with him. Like the back end of last season and pre-season, he's been scoring, he's been playing well. Um, he has got a bit of uncertainty, like in regards to his expected minutes, but I do think he's going to start the season well, and I think if he plays well, he'll keep his position as like a first team player, and I like him because he rotates well with my third forward as well.
Yeah,
Um, so like when I tell you my third forward, I'll obviously kind of explain the rotation bit there, but that's like an 8-man attack I'll have. So Rodgers is going to be my fifth midfielder, and I'm having a third forward there as well, who I can, possibly rotate, during the good fixtures. And I think that's like a really solid attack. And I think it's a lot more secure than having a 4.5 million midfielder, just due to who my third striker is going to be. So yeah, we'll get onto that in a minute.
Let's get straight onto it because we already know that Haaland and Isak are in your team.
Yeah,
Isak picks himself. I don't think we need to talk about him.
yeah,
Haaland just yeah, you already said why you swapped
yeah.
from Salah to Haaland, so I think that's very very logical and reasonable there as well. But yeah, let's go to the third forward then.
Yeah, so we've got João Pedro. I just think he's again another potential game breaker. And the first two fixtures are good. I could possibly bench him in the first game because he is again he's not 100% nailed to start game week one, because he's only played 45 minutes pre-season. But I do think like kind of long term in that squad he's going to be nailed, and he's going to be a great value option, great plays on penalties. Could possibly play Rodgers in game week one. In game week three, when they play Arsenal, Villa play Leicester, and then when they play Chelsea in game week six away, Villa play Ipswich, and then when they play Newcastle away in game week eight, Villa play Fulham. So that's like the three of the toughest fixtures. I could possibly bench him for great fixtures for Rodgers, for Villa. So I really like that kind of rotation there. And at the end of the day, I wouldn't even mind playing Pedro in those games anyway.
Yeah,
If Rodgers did go out of form, or he lost his place, it wouldn't be a disaster, and I wouldn't have to transfer him out straight away. Um, I was saying about Bob. I have been thinking about Bob, but I just think he's possibly such a short term pick, like maybe first two game weeks, and after that we just don't know. What's gonna happen, and but again, if Bob he's only 5 million as well, and if he ends up being nailed in that team, he's just so tempting because that's just a City midfielder, for 5 million. And I think Pep did say that he's going to be playing for a position on the right with Savio.
yeah, he did say
So
that.
yeah, so if I mean, it just kind of gets better by the day with Bob, like with the new information that's coming out. But I think for me, I still prefer Rodgers for now.
In terms of the predicted points for Bob compared to Rogers, Bob's ceiling is higher, I suppose, just because of the team he plays in, really. And you can see that he's got 4 predicted
Yeah,
points for Chelsea away, but then very quickly it comes down. Even with Pep's comments, Pep says these
yeah,
sort of things, and
yeah. That's
you
another
wouldn't be
thing. Like,
shocked
look,
if
it's
Bernardo just
Pep
was
at the end of the day,
played there,
so
whatever. Yeah,
we don't really know if
but who?
he's
I mean, you are right. Say he starts that Ipswich game and does well. That's just an unbelievable value at 5. But
yeah,
that is the reason why he is much lower down in the predicted points when you compare him to someone like Rogers, who is way higher at yeah, almost double his predicted points across the first 4 game weeks. But that is because we're much more confident that Rogers is going to stay in the team. I mean, even in
yeah,
game week 7, he's predicted to score over 3 points, which means that
mhm,
yeah, I think he's going to start.
yeah. And another option in that as well, like, is putting Rodgers down to a 4.5 winks, and doing Pedro to Muniz.
Yeah,
That's a draft I was playing about with, but I just think this is overall stronger. And I just think like Muniz is good, but he did get subbed off a lot last season, which put me off. And I just think Pedro's going to be. I think I was listening to I was reading one of the interviews from the new Brighton manager, and he was talking about Pedro being a leader. And so he was saying good things. I
ooh,
mean, when you say things like that, it means that he's one of the main players who's probably going
yeah.
to get a lot of minutes. And so I've just seen so many good things about Pedro in preseason. There's a really good thread by FPL Instinctive on Brighton. You should really check that out. And it just gives you a detailed breakdown of Brighton's tactics. I know a lot about João Pedro, and how he's playing and how he really suits the manager's position. So that really got me excited about Pedro as well.
Oh,
So he's in there for me for now.
I think I need to read that because
You do,
Pedro's
yeah,
a player that's been in my team, but I'm kind of he's not in there right now. I've gone for Solanke at the moment, but obviously that is 2 million more.
yeah.
What do you think about before we reveal your team rating? What do you think about Solanke?
See what, like, I said this before, like, I don't know if you've seen my tweet, but I don't know if him going to Spurs makes him a better FPL asset, because at Bournemouth he's nailed to start. He's a 90-minute man, and he's on penalties, right? None of those things are guaranteed at Spurs.
Yeah.
Yes, he's going to get a lot more chances created for him, in that team, of course, but I don't see Son giving him penalties. No
No.
way. Um, Probably won't play 90 minutes every game, because we already seen with Ange, he always subs like Madison, Son off early. If they're not playing well, I don't see why he's not going to do the same as Solanke. And yeah, so I just think he could possibly be a better asset, but I don't think it's a given. I don't think him going to Spurs just suddenly makes him essential. It does make him a better pick to start the season because of Spurs fixtures. But yeah, it's I'm not like I think he's a good pick. I think he's a perfectly fine pick, but not like essential. And I don't know if you've seen Rob T's predicted goals for the season. When Solanke was at Bournemouth, I think he was predicted to score like 15 goals, and then when he went to Spurs, as they got updated, he was actually predicted to score just slightly less. So the betting
Yeah.
markets kind of agree with that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't want to put you. I know you've got him. I don't want to put you off him. I
No,
think
it's
it's still a great pick.
yeah, I have seen that, and
It's
it was
still a
very
great pick.
it's the sort of thing that you don't necessarily think about. You think good player moves a better team will do better,
Yeah.
but yeah, it doesn't always work like that, and well, quite often it doesn't work like that. It doesn't mean that they're going to up their goals. He was obviously the main man at Bournemouth.
Yeah.
They relied on him heavily. They're not going to rely on him as much at
No,
Tottenham.
but no. I
They
mean,
have
he's going to be like a player, like just a normal player in
yeah,
that team.
exactly.
He's not going to be the best player like he was at Bournemouth.
No, and he won't need to score a goal every week for Tottenham to win a game.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, yeah, it's tough. I do like the fact that with João Pedro, you have that backup with Rodgers as well. I think that's
Yeah.
important. Just because he's not 100%. I don't know if he's 100. Well, I need to read that thread to be honest. But from my just sort of just looking at it, just from the outside, I don't know if he's 100% nailed in every single game. Maybe I'm wrong there.
Yeah, no, I
And
think
also, I'm not sure you'd
yeah,
want to play him in Arsenal away, for example. I think it'd be better to rotate there, as you said, with a Rodgers.
mhm. Yeah, I mean, it's ideal to have like someone there who can play in the better fixtures, but like because he's on penalties and
Yeah,
because Brighton are, I think, touted to do quite well. I mean, the signings they've made have been phenomenal, Jack. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they like actually did qualify for Europe now. Just with the Minty and especially he's one player I was kind of looking at, but they've just got so many attackers now that it's just a bit of a minefield. But I think with Pedro, we're fairly safe. Ferguson's still out for a while as well.
oh, okay. Very, very convincing arguments for all of your players, to be honest. This is probably the video which I've been sort of swayed the most in my personal thinking based on the guest. So I guess congratulations for that, giving me even more doubts in my mind over my own team.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks, man. That's really,
Projecting
really
that one, that's on
appreciated.
you.
I'm gonna do a video about my final team tomorrow, and I'm gonna have a 24 hours to think about it now. Goodness me. Let's tell you your team rating. It's 93%, 64.2 predicted points. That is a big improvement on last time where it was 90% and 62.2 predicted points.
Mhm.
That bumps you from 10th where you currently were your previous draft up to where are you now? You are in 7th, are you? 7th? No, 8th.
Wow.
So not unbelievable. There are better drafts out there according to Fantasy Football Hub's
That's
My Team
disappointing.
tool. The best
Who's
one is
first?
from Will,
Oh, of
the
course, the
founder.
guy who made who made the machine.
He's at 97% team
Nice,
rating.
nice.
But what we'll do is now is go through just quickly the first few game weeks and sort of optimize your team for each game week and see how it's looking, and then that will actually probably improve the team rating a bit as well.
Yeah.
So let's do that. First of all, captaincy. Let's just do that. Game week 1. Who are you going to captain?
I've got an Isaac at the moment with Saka Vice.
Saka Vice. Okay. Game week 2.
Game week 2.
Haaland, obviously. Got to be.
Yeah, the captain or like the players as well.
Yeah, let's do the players as well, actually.
Yeah, so captain is going to be Haaland. So in this, so the team will be the same, but I'll just play Robinson and then bench Marco and Costa.
Yeah. No, I like that.
Yeah,
That's where Robertson comes in. Yeah, 0.6 more predicted points than Barco that week. Very nice.
yeah,
Game week 3, and this is my favorite part. One of my favorite parts about the My Team tool right here is that you can just go through every game. You can see how your team's looking. If you are a planner, and I think this year more than ever, it's great to plan pretty long term if you can. I think in in FPL. This is such a useful tool just to be able to click through and see how your team is looking each week. So game week 3, that's the one where there's potentially a captain debate between Saka and Haaland. Also Isak, to be fair, but yeah, what are you thinking there?
No, right now, if it was game week 3 was tomorrow, I'd probably put it on Saka.
Okay.
It's one of the reasons I've got him, because he's a good captain option in game week 3. He's a good option in which is it's game week 6 and 7 as well. When they play Leicester and Brighton Leicester and Southampton at home.
Yeah.
So 3 game weeks, he's possible captain for the first 10 game weeks. But yeah, in that fixture again, look, if you look at the defensive rotation, I'll probably play Robinson again against Ipswich, but I could even play Konsa against Leicester.
Yeah, then game week 4, Robinson just there looking good.
Yeah,
I like that rotation a lot, and then you could potentially, if you wanted to, bench Porro for Konsa as well, or Barco if Barco's still in the team. That is where it gets strong.
Yeah. So so I think with for the first 10 game weeks, the rotation from the defense works quite well.
Yeah.
And I like it. And again, look, even if Barco drops out, it's not the end of the world, because I've still got Konsa there with good fixtures. Villa's fixtures after game week 2 are fantastic.
So there we go. That's the team rating, guys. If you think you can beat Abdul's team rating, then go and do so. Simple. Put your team in for free, as you can see at the top of the screen. Click the link in the description. Super easy. And see if you can get a better rating than Abdul. If you then want to take advantage of everything else that you've seen, being able to skip through week by week and set your team up, seeing predicted points for more than just 1 week, then also all the data, and also one of my favorite things, AI recommended transfers, then now is the best time to sign up. It's currently 50% off. You get a 7-day free trial anyway, and if you do not win your mini league, you will be refunded all of your money. I know a lot of you in the comments don't believe this. It's true. Like there's no sort of like there's no two ways about it. That just is the deal. It's so crazy that a lot of you don't believe it. Trust me, we refunded a lot of people last year. We're going to do the same again. Not everyone can win their mini leagues. We know this. But yeah, that's how confident we are. If you want to win at FPL, sign up to Fantasy Football Hub. But before we end this video, Abdul, I do want to show you your personalized AI recommended transfers. Before the season starts, every team will have 3 recommendations to improve your team or just give you food for thought anyway. And these are interesting. Konsa is out. Rodgers is out. Haaland is out. Gvardiol, Salah, and Muniz are in. That is super. Those are solid moves, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean that's a Salah team right there, isn't it?
Exactly.
So, yeah. So it was Haaland for Muniz, Rodgers for Salah, and
with the money, Konsa's out for Gvardiol. Yeah.
That's actually really that's really tempting, because you can get a good team just by with Haaland on his own, but with Salah on his own, you can get a phenomenal team. Like
those 8 attackers are super. Maybe it's a bit too strong to be fair. But if you want to be super solid, then you really can be with a Salah side.
Yeah. No, it's tempting, but I just think starting with Haaland is a bit more bulletproof, because I'd rather go from Haaland to Salah, because I think Haaland's captainable fixtures are better in the first 4, whereas then it kind of switches to Salah. So I just think it's a bit more bulletproof to do that. So yeah, but on paper those moves look great. So
there we go. They are your recommended transfers. I don't think you're going to go for them. You seem pretty set on no Salah, but interesting nonetheless. And guys, if you do want to see the team that Abdul absolutely locks in, obviously not long to go now at all until the deadline, then by signing up to Fantasy Football Hub, you will also see Abdul's final team reveal locked in, which is always great to see. You'll also get to see Abdul's amazing content across the season. You're going to be a regular, like last year, on the channel, revealing your team each and every week, your game week to game week thoughts. And very much looking forward to it. Guys, once again, sign up to Fantasy Football Hub. You've only got a few hours left to do so now. And that deal, 50% off, is going to be gone when the Game Week 1 deadline hits. Don't miss it. Trust me, when you get to Game Week 1, Game Week 2, Game Week 3, and you're not sure what to do with your team, and you're jealous of everyone else, getting their AI recommended transfers, really helping them out, you're gonna think back to this moment and think, goodness me, why didn't I just listen to him? I should have done that. Don't miss out. There we go. Abdul, thank you very much as always.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck this game week, guys. I can say that now because we're very close to it. And we will catch you on the next video.